Part 1. The Obsession. The story begins with the narrator addressing the listener directly, asserting his sanity. He speaks with a calm yet intense conviction, explaining that his sharp senses, particularly his acute hearing, are proof of his mental clarity. He insists that what he is about to reveal is not the ravings of a madman but a carefully thought out and justified act. The narrator lives with an old man, a kind and gentle person who has never wronged him. The old man treats him well, providing for his needs and showing him kindness. But there is something about the old man that the narrator cannot bear, something that fills him with an overwhelming sense of dread. It is not the old man's personality, nor is it anything he has done. It is his eye. The old man has a pale, blue eye with a film over it, resembling that of a vulture. Whenever the eye falls upon the narrator, it chills him to his very core. He feels as though the eye can see into his soul, exposing his deepest, darkest thoughts. The narrator becomes obsessed with the eye. It consumes his every thought, haunting him day and night. He tries to avoid looking at it, but it is always there, watching him. He cannot eat, cannot sleep, cannot think of anything else. The eye becomes a symbol of all that is wrong in his life, and he becomes convinced that as long as the eye exists, he will never find peace. Driven by this obsession, the narrator decides that the only way to rid himself of the eye is to destroy it. But how? He cannot simply gouge out the eye. The old man would suffer, and despite his hatred of the eye, he does not wish to cause the old man pain. No, the only way to rid himself of the eye is to kill the old man. But even this thought is not easy for him to accept. The narrator spends days wrestling with his conscience, trying to justify the murder in his mind. He convinces himself that it is not murder if it is done to save his own sanity. Once he has resolved to kill the old man, the narrator begins to plan the murder with meticulous care. He knows he must be patient, careful, and above all, silent. He cannot afford to make a mistake. For 7 nights, he practices his plan, sneaking into the old man's room at midnight. He moves slowly, inching the door open just enough to slide his head inside. He holds a lantern with his hand over the light, casting a single thin ray onto the old man's eye. But every night, the eye is closed, and the narrator cannot bring himself to commit the act. He stands there, watching the old man sleep, feeling a mix of hatred and fear, but he does not act. He cannot kill the old man when the eye is not watching him. The narrator becomes increasingly frustrated with himself. He questions his resolve, wondering if he will ever find the courage to do what must be done. He is tormented by the thought that the eye will continue to haunt him forever if he does not act soon. Yet, he knows that he must wait for the perfect moment when the eye is open and vulnerable.